Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Anne Marie, and today I'm going to discuss the 10 Things I Love About You, A Twisted Love Story by Samantha Downing. Before we begin, let me remind you that I will not reveal any plot twists, nor will I spoil any surprise endings, so don't worry about that. The whole point of this is to give you an inside peek into the book. If you've already read it, or if my video inspires you to do so, and you feel compelled to add to my list of things to love, feel free to do so in the comments, and I will take a look. So here we go. The first thing I love about A Twisted Love Story is that it was written by Samantha Downing. In my opinion, you cannot go wrong with a Samantha Downing novel. She is a phenomenal storyteller. She has this ability to draw you into the story and into the lives of the characters, and it doesn't matter if you love them or hate them, because either way, you will want to know what is going to happen next. It's not what she writes, it's how she writes it. I've read all of her books, and I've found this to be true for all of them. So regardless of which one you choose, you can expect a compelling story with an ending that usually leaves you wondering what just happened. That is the genius of Samantha Downing. Her most recently published novel is A Twisted Love Story, and yes, as the title implies, it is twisted. That's putting it mildly. Toxic, dysfunctional, crazy. The relationship between Wes and Ivy is a mess. At the heart of the story, however, is how their twisted love story affects everybody around them. While these two are busy antagonizing each other people end up suffering because of it. And someone ends up dead. I won't say who, again, no spoilers, but here's how the story is described on the book jacket. Wes and Ivy are madly in love. They've never felt anything like it. It's the type of romance people write stories about. But what kind of story? When it's good, it's great. Flowers, grand gestures, deep, meaningful conversations where the whole world disappears. When it's bad, it's really bad. Vengeful fights, damaged property, arrest warrants. But the vicious cycle of catastrophic breakups and head-over-heels reconciliations needs to end fast, because suddenly Wes and Ivy have a common enemy, and she's a detective. There's something Wes and Ivy never talk about, in good times or bad. The night of their worst breakup, when one of them took things too far and someone ended up dead. If they can stick together, they can survive anything. Even the tightening net of a police investigation, because one more breakup might just be their last. So let's talk about that detective, Karen Colglazer. She's my favorite character in the book. Why? Because she's confident, thorough, intuitive, and there is no quitting time when it comes to her investigations. She wants the truth, and she doesn't care what she has to do to get it, nor does she care how long it takes to get it. She reminds me of Barbara Havers from Elizabeth George's Inspector Lynley mystery series, in that she's relentless in her pursuit of the truth. Working for the police department isn't just a job, it's her passion, it's her life, and no one is going to tell her to back off, take it easy, handle this with kid gloves. No, she's going for it full force. I love intense characters, which is why I love Detective Karen Colglazer. The third thing I love about A Twisted Love Story is the reason why Detective Karen Colglazer becomes a common enemy of Wes and Ivy. Not surprisingly, they bring it on themselves. Sort of. The book starts with Wes sitting in his office at work, thinking about the girl he's going out with that night, not Ivy. And shortly thereafter, Detective Colglazer shows up to address a complaint that Ivy made about Wes stalking her. Detective Colglazer takes Ivy's complaint very seriously, due in part to her own personal history, which we learn about later in the book. But for now, she simply shows up at Wes's work to have a little chat with him regarding Ivy's accusations. The fourth thing I love about this book is Bianca. Bianca is the administrative assistant for the sales department team for the same company where Wes works. She's organized, detail-oriented, observant, and loves to snoop, which ends up being her downfall. She's sneaky and she knows too much about her coworkers because she keeps tabs on all of them. She also keeps a set of Russian nesting dolls in her work desk, one of which contains something that allows her to snoop on her coworkers. The fifth thing I love about A Twisted Love Story is Abigail Wright. She's the CEO's executive assistant at the same company where both Bianca and Wes work. In chapter 14, Abigail is described as very tall, very thin, with red hair and a perfectly symmetrical face. A lot of men tell her she should be a model. She responds by walking away from them. In chapter 28, Wes describes her as being brutally efficient, professional, and someone who never loses her cool, except for the day that Ivy almost destroyed his office. Number 6 is Heath. Heath is an architect who specializes in environmentally friendly houses. He's currently putting together a community of off-the-grid tiny homes up in the wilds of Oregon, so he has been out of town for the last 2 months. Heath is Ivy's best friend. The two of them have almost a brother-sister relationship, but even still, Wes has issues with it. Why? Because Wes and Ivy are insanely jealous of each other. Which brings me to number 7 on my list, obsession. That is the underlying theme of this book. If you haven't already suspected it, Wes and Ivy are obsessed with each other. Unfortunately for them, Detective Karen Colglazier is obsessed with bringing them down. She suspects they are responsible for the murder that occurs in the book, and she is determined to solve it. In chapter 55, we learn she buys a second corkboard to help her sort her thoughts and ideas. The new one is covered in sticky notes and stickers, all color-coded. Green on the right, indicating evidence she already has. Yellow in the middle for things she's waiting on or that need follow-up. Red on the left for the things she needs but can't find. While the details are kept in the lists on her phone, the board gives her the big picture at a glance. Again, she is obsessed with bringing down Wes and Ivy. And they are number 8 on my list, the stars of the book, Wes and Ivy. By now you probably realize the twisted love story is theirs. And like I said earlier, it's a complicated mess. The whole time I was reading this book, I couldn't help but envision the look on a therapist's face listening to the two of them duke it out in an office setting. She uses her social media accounts to post pictures of herself on dates with other men just to make him jealous. She destroys his office by smashing his computer screen, breaking a lamp, embarrassing him in front of his coworkers. She vandalizes his car. He flirts with random women to make her jealous. He interrupts her dinner dates. He cheats on her. He steals her car. I mean, it's a mess. But it's all part of their dysfunctional relationship. Number 9 on the list is my favorite line in the book, found in chapter 4. Once you start crossing lines, the road back is too crooked, too difficult to follow, easier to keep going forward. I love that line because it provides a great visual for what is happening in the story. There are so many mind games being played, and there is so much psychological manipulation that it's impossible for these characters to go back and straighten it out. They simply keep going forward with their lies and deceptions, and at some point it's all going to implode. But until that happens, you simply sit back and continue reading Wes and Ivy's Twisted Love Story. Number 10 on my list is Geneva Rose's review quote. Subtle, compelling, and clever. A twisted love story will take you on a tense and emotional thrill ride that doesn't let up until the final page. Downing has crafted a complex, masterfully written tale that will have you rooting for the dysfunctional couple while simultaneously not trusting either of them. Yes, that's it in a nutshell. Geneva Rose nailed it with that review quote. Wes and Ivy are a dysfunctional couple, neither of which is trustworthy or even likable, yet you'll find yourself at the edge of your seat wondering whether they are going to make it. And you want them to be happy. You want to root for them, but you're torn because in a way it feels as though you're rooting for the bad guys. And therein lies the complexity of this novel. Is it wrong to root for Wes and Ivy given what they have done? Or should we root for them because they are the main characters? Then this story is theirs. That's something you as the reader must decide, which makes a twisted love story a compelling, interesting read. If you've read the book and would like to add to my list of things to love, please do so in the comments. Until next time, take care, be well, and happy reading.